The Galactic Council's most brilliant minds had spent 17 cycles perfecting it. The Nexus 7, they called it, a weapon of such devastating potential that its mere existence would render warfare obsolete. Admiral Zeftai of the Altarian Navy stood before the obsidian monolith, its surface crawling with equations that bent space-time itself. One activation, Zeftai explained to the assembled delegates, his 4 eyes gleaming with pride. And any fleet within a light-year radius simply ceases. Matter dissolution at the quantum level. No debris, no radiation, just empty space where warships once prowled. The representatives of 12 species nodded their approval. The crystalline hegemony's ambassador rang like wind chimes in agreement. The silicon-based Terrans had remained suspiciously quiet during the presentation. Their single human representative, a seemingly unremarkable woman named Dr. Sarah Chen, jotting notes on an archaic paper pad. Questions? Zeftai asked. Dr. Chen raised her hand. What's the power source? A micro-singularity contained within the central chamber, self-sustaining, eternal. Why? Just curious about the engineering. She smiled, that peculiar human expression that never quite translated properly to other species. It's beautiful work. The weapon was deployed to the neutral zone between the warring Nexus Coalition and the Free Stars Alliance. For 3 months, it served its purpose perfectly. Ships would approach, detect the Nexus 7 signature, and retreat. The longest peace in galactic history began. Then, without warning, the Nexus 7 went silent. Admiral Zeftai led the investigation team himself. They found the weapon intact, but changed. The quantum disruption field was offline. The singularity chamber had been reconfigured, and sitting atop the weapon's sleek surface was a steaming cup of something that smelled remarkably like Terran coffee. Dr. Chen emerged from what had once been the weapon's targeting array, wearing work coveralls and carrying a peculiar collection of tools. Oh, hello, Admiral. Perfect timing. I just finished the modifications. Modifications? Zeftai's voice climbed several octaves. This is a weapon of mass destruction. Was, Chen corrected, patting the machine's side affectionately. Now, it's furniture, coffee table to be precise, with some rather nice additional features. She gestured to the modified surface. Where once complex targeting systems had gleamed, there was now a smooth obsidian table dotted with cup holders and what appeared to be charging ports. The singularity was overkill for what you actually needed, Chen continued, seemingly oblivious to Zeftai's mounting horror. I've redirected its output to power a rather nice replicator system. Coffee, tea, hot chocolate, it can synthesize most beverages. The quantum field generators now create a localized gravity well perfect for keeping drinks from floating away in 0G. And the targeting computers? Excellent for streaming entertainment directly to neural interfaces. You turned the most powerful weapon in galactic history into a coffee table. Well, when you put it like that, it sounds silly. Chen lifted her cup in what humans called a toast. But think about it. How many wars have been started over conference tables? How many peace treaties signed over shared meals? This table, Admiral, will host more productive conversations than that weapon ever prevented conflicts. Zeftai stared at the machine. The crystalline ambassador began making sounds that could have been laughter or crystalline fractures. The other delegates whispered among themselves in a dozen languages. The council will be furious, Zeftai finally managed. The council, said a new voice, will be served excellent coffee. Chancellor Vorthak materialized via transport beam, her tentacles already reaching for one of the table's conveniences. Dr. Chen contacted us 3 days ago. We've been negotiating. You knew about this? We authorized it. Vorthak settled her bulk around the table, accepting a cup of something that steamed purple. It turns out humans have a rather compelling argument about furniture. Chen pulled up a chair. Apparently, she'd fabricated seating as well. See, every species in the galaxy builds weapons. Big weapons, small weapons, weapons that think, weapons that adapt. But how many species build Really good furniture. Furniture that brings people together instead of pushing them apart. The Altarian admiral found himself reluctantly accepting a cup of what his translator insisted was called Earl Grey. It was surprisingly pleasant. Humans, Chen continued. We're pretty good at weapons too, but we're better at making places where people want to gather. Living rooms, cafes, conference rooms that don't feel like interrogation chambers. And the thing about gathering, really gathering, is that it's hard to start wars when you're sharing good coffee and comfortable seating. Over the following weeks, something unprecedented happened. Ships still approached the former weapon site, but instead of retreating, they lingered. Captains found excuses to dock. Diplomatic meetings multiplied. Trade negotiations began spontaneously. The table became neutral ground in the most literal sense. Its artificial gravity field created a perfect meeting space where beings of different atmospheric requirements could gather comfortably. The replicator learned new recipes from every visiting species. The entertainment system began hosting interspecies cultural exchanges. Admiral Zeftai found himself visiting weekly, ostensibly for security inspections, but really for Chen's modifications to Altarian battle tea. The Coalition and Alliance admirals began scheduling their patrols to overlap at the coffee table. 3 separate trade agreements were signed over shared pastries. 6 months later, the Galactic Council formally commissioned Dr. Chen to weaponize furniture throughout the galaxy. The war machine that was meant to end all wars had been transformed into something far more powerful, a coffee table that actually did. And in the quiet moments between diplomatic victories, when Chen sat alone at her creation sipping perfectly replicated coffee and watching ships arrive filled with beings ready to talk rather than fight, she couldn't help but smile. Sometimes, the most human thing you could do was turn a weapon into an invitation.